Good morning, everybody, and It is Monday, right? Yeah, it is Monday. Jesus. I guess it must have been a good weekend. I hope everyone's doing well, and we're going to get started here in just a second. So just hang tight. You guys can hear me okay? If you could just quickly confirm. Oopsie. All right. Yeah, it did mess everything up, didn't it? Cool. Alrighty. Hey, by the way, what are those crown things that I keep seeing people are having? Is that like let me see. What are those crown? Does anyone know what those crown things are that are popping up on people's thing? Oh, I think it ranks you guys. That's what that is. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. All right, listen, let's get started. Again, good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Um, let's get started. If you're here for the first time, um, this is our morning show. I'm Serge Berger from thesteadytrader.com. I hope everyone had a awesome weekend, and we are now ready to kick off into July. Truly, I wanted to show you guys a couple things here today. This morning, we have to ease into the week because obviously markets were closed. U.S. markets were closed on Friday. It was globally a big mouth of words. It was globally a quiet couple of days over the past few days. The weekend too, in terms of the markets, didn't really have a whole lot of action, even in some of the crypto stuff over the weekend, which is the only thing that trades, right? Uh, some of the markets that were open yesterday, like the Saudis and stuff like that, wasn't really anything amazing there. So let's just kind of go through it and set up the week for you guys, for us actually. So let's get going. First of all, let's start off with currencies. If you guys remember, we talked about this last week, and this is important for equities, right? So if you're an equity person only, you need to understand what currencies are doing, particularly the dollar. So what I talked about last week, I don't know if do you guys recall me talking about that I went long the dollar for the first time in gosh, it's been a long time now. Essentially, I'm short the euro via futures versus the dollar. So the inverse of that, of course, is being long the dollar. This year is a dollar index. I remain long the dollar. This morning, it's actually making a decent move, which is also why commodities are down this morning. So I'll show you guys all this here in a minute. But this is the dollar index. The dollar index basically was down as much as about 12%. So if you think about what that means for a foreign, a non-US dollar investor, let's say like a huge, ultra high net worth individual or a global pension fund, right? That has a base currency of non-dollars. That means that their S&P 500 performance is actually negative on the year, quite substantially, not positive, because they have currency. The currency, the dollar, is basically down a lot, right? So you have to think about that when, from a global investor's perspective. I keep telling people, like, ignoring that is a very, very, closed-minded way of looking at the markets. So please be aware of that. It's really important. So I think the dollar could bounce. The question, of course, what does that mean for equities? And the honest answer is I do not know. What I do know, and I can show you this here this morning, this is how I like to keep track of currencies. You can see the red line. This is just today, right now, live. The dollar is up versus the yen, and the euro is down versus the dollar. That's the same thing, right? So the euro is weaker and versus the dollar, and the dollar and the yen is weaker versus the dollar. So it's just the way that the currencies are paired. Now, if you are joining here for the first time, trust me, this is not a currency trading clown show here. I'm showing you this through the lens of macro investing because it does matter. So now with the dollar potentially bouncing here, which again, I'm basically short euro versus dollar futures, right? There's levered ETFs you can use for that as well if you want to, or options on something like the UUP ETF, for example. But the reason why this is important is because the commodity space is this morning on the back of this having a bit of a down day. So you can see here today, of course, is the 7th. And so commodities across the board are actually, it's not showing up here. This is not a one. I can show it to you up here. Sorry, I'm a bit disorganized this morning if that's not clear. But if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, you can see commodities like oil is down 0.7%. Natural gas is down 1.2%. This is how I can show it to you like this. There you go. So you can see this is today's price action over here on the right. I like to keep track of things like that so I know what's going on. So I would urge you guys to do something similar. Bitcoin's down. And the reason those things are down is because they're priced in dollars, right? The commodities. So typically what you tend to see is if commodities if the dollar is making a decent move in one direction or another, all else being equal, and it's not like that every day, but on average, the commodities will have to make sort of an opposite move. So anyway, we'll see how long this lasts. I don't know quite frankly, if gold and silver have a whole lot to fall on this, the metals. Natural gas is a bit different because it's just very volatile. But anyway, just thought I would point this out for you guys. It's a bit of a macro lesson. And again, any feedback on this would always be helpful to have. Now that we've talked this macro and put some of you guys asleep, let's talk a little bit about equities. The S&P 500, where are we? Where could we go? Well, this morning, the futures market, the S&P 500 this morning is... what are the SPOOs doing? They are... Gosh, what the hell am I doing here? So disorganized this morning, sorry. Let's call it... down a little bit now. It's not a major move in the equity market this morning in the down about 37 basis points, so not a big move. So we still have this breakout that's attempting to happen here. Now, as I mentioned last week, I have very little faith that this rally here is just going to continue at this rate. I think what we're likely going to see at some point here soon is some sort of a mean reversion move back into this green zone. Now, I'm not really willing to change to add a whole lot of like shorts. I'm hedged right now, so my exposure to equities right now is basically neutral versus sort of a long-term portfolio. I'm hedged. I'm short futures, but I'm just hedged, right? I have long directional trades like Apple, which I'll talk about in a minute. But sort of as a broader sort of, portfolio hedge, I'm basically short. So, neutral, excuse me. But I'm not short, right? So I'm just basically, it doesn't matter what the market does here. From a big picture portfolio perspective, I probably won't make that much money unless I start either adding to that hedge and make it my portfolio net short, or I remove the hedge and then I'm long again, right? Again, that's aside from individual stocks that I'm trading like Apple, and I've got a few other stocks like Boeing that I want to show you guys this morning that looks interesting as well. But I personally would not necessarily be betting for this to continue. I actually think we'll see a mean reversion move. Now, again, I want to not get aggressive on the short side until I see actual price action confirm this. So we probably need an outside reversal day. And I don't know if today's the day for that or tomorrow or whenever, but when that happens, I might be willing to go ahead and actually do some things on the short side. If you remember Microsoft and a few other stocks we talked about last week, they are still in very, very steep moves to the upside. And we talked about the 8-period moving average having sort of been broken. But again, it was July, going into July 4th, so price action is very funky. So I'm watching stuff like Microsoft and Roblox very, very closely. I think these are the kind of stocks that will probably mean revert rather sharply once we start to see some sort of a move. But again, I'm not short, so I don't want anyone to say that surge is bearish. I'm not. I'm just open-minded that these moves here are extremely, extremely steep, and you know, if and when we see a move that would you know, give us more conviction, it'll be momentum driven. So for those of you guys using the trender indicator, that'll be what I'll be using to make that decision. Two individual stocks I'm going to give you guys this morning that we're looking at. One of them is Boeing. On the long side, this is using our trend following algorithm. This is our market rover indicator. You can see that Boeing is in a bullish trend, and you can see that we just received a new buy signal last week, Thursday. Now, again, keep in mind that we had July 4th, but we do have a next upside target in Boeing around $222.50. And target number 2 is about $226.85. That's just purely from a trading perspective. So that's one of them. Again, this is the market rover. This gives us a trend following signal. So basically, Boeing turned into a bullish trend in April. So far, the stock is up about 25%. Beautiful trade. You can see it reached target 1 and 2 from a trading perspective on that first trade. But the point is to be long as we're in the green zone. And now we're getting a new trading signal from a shorter term perspective. Another stock that's really interesting, this is more momentum driven, is Amgen. Okay, I'll quickly show you this. So this is Amgen, and you can see that Amgen is, this is now momentum, right? Momentum is not meant to be confused with trend. Those are two separate, so momentum is quicker. So Amgen is a biotechnology stock, by the way, and you can see that this stock is now using our trender momentum indicator is now giving us a new buy signal. The next profit target that we have for Amgen is it's pretty close by. It's only about 303, 304, but that's another one that has bullish momentum on our work here. Last but not least, I want to quickly show you Apple. I personally remain long Apple. We'll see how that stock acts today. Quickly show you this one. Apple this morning is more or less, it's down a little bit, yeah, but not much. So we remain, I personally remain long Apple. You see we received a momentum buy signal on the 30th of June. I think those call options are currently, yeah, for I think every 3 call options that were bought there are up about $1,000 so far. So if I would have bought, let's say 9, it would be up $9,000. The momentum is still there on Apple, so it hasn't really changed. And I do want to remind people that we do have, and this is, again, I have to take this with a grain of salt, but the seasonality for Apple for the month of July, and this is thanks to my colleague JB, July is very strong. Whether this happens this year or not and holds true, I don't know. But I just wanted to point this out for all of you guys. So that's a hell of a lot of stuff here this morning that we're giving you. Hopefully you're finding this valuable. Any feedback, as always, please let us know. So we talked about the S&P, the fact that maybe the breakout here won't last just yet. We talked about Apple. We talked about Amgen. We talked about Boeing. We talked about the dollar. And what else did we talk about? Yeah, I think that was that. So that's a whole lot of stuff. For those of you guys using the trender indicator, just so you know, we are rolling out, I believe, next week, this browser-based version of the trender. It's on a subscription base because we have a lot of costs. This is very expensive to run for us. So all of you guys that have the trender currently will have the ability to subscribe to the browser-based scanner for the trender. It's an absolute beauty. I've been playing it with it for the past 3 weeks. So that is what you guys can look forward to for those people using the trend. If you don't have the trender yet, you need to get the trender first, and then you can get a subscription to this thing as well. Anyway, we'll see you guys over in Trade Ops in about 10 minutes. Thanks for being here. Happy Monday, and it's great to be back. Let's give it all this week. Hopefully the markets will give us a lot of opportunity. They usually do. Take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, also, very important, please subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please. Otherwise, we can't continue the show, and also give us a thumbs up like on all these videos. That really, really helps. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.